you talking about?
You should. I'll bring my Sony to carry that adapter with the zoom lens, and we'll put it towards the wall and get a clock zoom. So it will be like 100% perfect. And then we'll know it's really
It's super long.
It'll look really good. It'll get rid of all
Everybody that meets us in person is like, oh, you guys look so much taller. It's the lens, bro.
Every meet and greet we go to.
It's
Literally
like,
every single one.
It stretches you. It makes you look taller.
And it's like low-key an insult, but like,
Yeah.
I understand it's coming out
dude.
of innocence.
Let's not get into me getting disrespected.
Calvin gets really mad.
And then disrespecting people back.
Like, really mad. Do you ever see Calvin on a show and the first words are, dude, you're shorter in person? Rip. You just pissed him off. And
Rip. That's it. That's it. I'm going to make a scene. You're about to be a part of a scene.
You're going to get the silent treatment from Calvin throughout the day. Welcome back as Calvin coughs up a lung.
My bad.
The last episode we did was with Eliminate, and that episode has 60,000 views.
Huge thanks.
60,000 listens.
That's awesome.
I haven't talked to you, Calv, on the update of Spotify and iTunes. What's the update on that, Calv?
I have to make accounts. I made the accounts. Now I downloaded. I'm in the process of downloading the old podcast.
Wow, you're gonna try and re-upload all of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, of course.
Well,
what do you mean?
I don't know.
They could binge 20 of them.
Sure,
There's 20 now.
I ask because there's a lot of people who ask. So for those who
want to know, I'm getting to it right now. It's a bit hectic as usual.
A little off topic, but I have to ask. Is your stomach okay from last night's dinner?
No, absolutely.
Sabrina and I are convinced that this morning we had food poisoning.
Food poisoning?
Yeah.
Really? I had the normal cheese. The cheese stomach ache.
No, ask Sabrina today after the show and ask her how her stomach was this morning. We weren't sure if it was the restaurant or just odd chances. But we're pretty messed up.
Like, food poisoning is bad, though.
Like, pissing out the butt bad. The usual. Yeah. I don't know. It's okay. If you're not, then that answers my question.
No, I'm fine, yeah.
Okay.
Emily's fine as well.
Sure. Let's
okay, topic.
Let's talk about the topic for
today's
episode.
The topic today is things you must know, absolutely must know before modifying your car. Don't even try modifying your car until you know, like, the things that we've learned or things that other people have learned. And man, there's a lot.
So this is so what he means is we're going to be talking about things today of little like tips and tricks and lessons that we have learned after already doing said categories. So to kick off an example, let's do it with your favorite exhaust. Let's start with exhaust.
Your favorite mod, exhaust.
Let's start with exhaust.
Things you must know before putting an exhaust on.
Or the things that you will know after you do an exhaust and waste money and get the wrong one. Should I
go
start?
ahead. You're the one with the louder cars for sure.
Sure, yeah. I think the biggest thing for me was when you like first start like buying parts and stuff, I don't feel like you really know what you're buying.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
like there are all these like names
pictures
of like
and
Y pipe, catback, front pipe, test pipe,
muffler,
it's
resonator.
Like, what is all of this? And it's very confusing. I think
at first it is. But
yeah,
it's intuitive.
At first, yes, it is intuitive. But at that point, when you're like buying your first exhaust, you've never been underneath your car, so there's no intuitive information that you have because you haven't done it yet.
Absolutely.
And for me, I think when I first got my exhaust, the NVIDIA, it was to FT86 Speed Factory. Their website's laid out pretty good, and it like has like this piece makes your car sound like this, and it's not like a, I think the older fashion was like going on YouTube, and I would type in like Beardsley aftermarket exhaust, and I would find one, but then like you'd often find you'd find a sound clip, but that guy would also have other exhaust pieces on it too, and it would get to the point where it's like that piece that you're going after isn't what's making that car sound like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest thing you have to learn, and I think you do learn, is like what a catback exhaust means, meaning like it's an exhaust after the factory cats in the car.
Catalytic converter.
Yeah. Right. And that if you're looking for, I think there's like 3 levels of exhaust, and it's like you're looking for more noise, or you're looking for a little more volume,
Yeah.
and then you're looking for like more volume, and then like max loud volume.
Yeah.
And I guess the 3 levels that I wish I knew was a simple cat back will get you a little more volume.
Depending
If it has resonators and all
so-
that type of stuff. But that's such a deep branch you could dive
Yeah,
into.
no,
'cause
absolutely.
Everyone's different.
But as a umbrella, every car is literally different. So TJ Supra did little to nothing.
But we have to keep in mind that the Supra has twins.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the Supra, and then the BRZ gets a pretty good upgrade. New sounds good.
But then also we're talking about, see, this is where it gets
No,
hairy.
that's what.
Because yes, the BRZ did get louder when we did our NVIDIA N1, but keep in mind that was non-resonated, like 3-inch. You can get like another cat back
we
that has
had a
like
resonator.
2.5. I know, but like also there's diameters.
No, well, yeah,
So
okay.
it's
So this
It's actually
is just
more difficult than I thought it was going to be to break this down.
So it's just the umbrella. So we're talking about if you're buying the minimum piece, like the rear end, the cat back piece to a stock car. So every car will sound different. Do what TJ did. Do the research and look for like a video that doesn't have bad audio, and get a feel for the noise, because it's all different. Like, we did not expect the S2000 to be absolutely ridiculously loud.
Yeah. And even everyone still that we tell that we're friends with, we're like, dude, it's very, very loud. And everyone's like, no, it can't. Even the Eliminate crew, which they have S2Ks, and they have the Honda scenes. And even all of them that were here, they were like, wow, that's really loud.
So
again, that's another thing. But again, material that was made out of titanium. Titanium carries volume better than stainless.
Different metals have different resonant frequencies, so that
it's like we're like in school.
Yeah. But
it's almost way more difficult than it needs to be. My breakdown that I was gonna say was, if you want like a little more loud, cat back, you'll be safe. If you want a little more loud, usually an exhaust consists of
Removing your
multiple
cat.
pieces. I was gonna say removing your cat or getting a test pipe. A test pipe essentially means a pipe that has the catalytic converter. And I've seen this test pipe kind of change definitions, but in my eyes, it's pretty much that pipe that holds your catalytic converter. It's a replacement with no cat. A cat really reduces sound travel or volume. And then if you want
Airflow,
full loud airflow, if you want full loud, you get aftermarket headers. Then boom, your car is straight piped, which that's how you achieve that straight pipe type of name. But I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that.
We went through a lot of exhaust to learn all that.
Yeah. Even still, I question myself. I'm like, wait, do I know what that is? And we didn't even get into like front pipes,
Downpipes,
all that
headers.
stuff. That's
There's
like a whole different rabbit hole.
There's a whole bunch of things with exhaust, but my mod that I would like to, it's not vinyl or changing the color of your car. It's suspension. I've learned a lot about suspension from my BRZ, from Bennick's BRZ, your BRZ, because we went through Tane, and then what's the really nice Australian one that we had?
MCA,
and now Airlift, and now Universal Air.
Yeah, there's also been Buddy Club on the S2000.
Oh, there is the Buddy Club.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've been through quite a few of
things that you absolutely need to know about suspension is, I wish I knew, and I learned this the hard way from the BRZ, is whether or not it has a wishbone. I'm not going to explain what a wishbone is, but I wish I knew that the BRZ didn't have a wishbone in the front, because if you have a wishbone, it changes your geometry, your camber, and it tucks when you have wishbones, when you air out. The BRZ goes straight down.
Yep.
The BRZ goes straight down, no camber. But the rear has a wishbone, akin to a wishbone, and it tucks. So I'm super tucked in the rear and cambered out in the rear, but not in the front at all. And I'm trying to strike a balance between, because do I want to drive at ride height and have no camber? That's my goal. I don't want camber on my
Same.
car, right?
I like minimal. Like if I'm driving, like I have rear camber a little bit, but I fancy the squared look setup when riding. I think it looks mad.
I think it looks good too, but that's weird because your rear doesn't look like it has a lot of camber when you're air up. You got some suspension memes back there or something?
There is camber in the rear, but minimal.
Minimal? Why do I have so much? My tires, maybe?
I think wheel specs.
Wheel spec?
I mean, yeah, that's the only thing. I don't have adjustable cam. I don't know.
I have camber arms.
Yeah, you do now, but I don't. I have stock. I would argue it's just wheel size.
Wheel size.
I mean, I don't know. I have like 12 and a half in the rear, something like that.
Yeah. And also,
it's the way it lays before. I could be totally wrong, but
and another thing about suspension, I don't know how you feel about this, but driver feel. It's usually an upgrade. It usually feels much better than stock, right? It's less spongy, but you got to be fully prepared when you're going to make your car lower at all. You need to be fully prepared that you might have stiffer or rougher ride, like a skateboard. I used to kin my 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 airlift suspension as a skateboard because I put max dampening, or I maxed it out because I would ride so low that I can't have suspension travel or I will break something.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of comfort that you lose with suspension. Like you can't expect your car to be low and comfortable. Actually, you could.
You can now.
You
Universal
can.
air, baby.
You can now, but you do have to sacrifice quite a bit to get the low that you want, because recently I bottomed out really hard on the 5 freeway, and it knocked my diff the diff plate where you put the oil in, and knocked that slightly open, and my diff was leaking all the way up to San Francisco and back down from San Francisco. So I don't know how much oil's in there. So you got to be ready for like scraping and destroying parts. Like my exhaust is gone. If you watch the main channel, I don't know when that video will be up, but there's a great view of the big ass hole in my exhaust.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, the one thing I'm going to add on is it's okay to not have the most expensive set of coilovers. Usually that's usually people jump to coils before bags. And the biggest thing that is that when I first started, I think I remember, hearing or reading about a whole bunch of debate like, oh, this coilover was crap, this was too stiff, this didn't last, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, like if you are a person who drives on the street and owns one car, and that car that they're modifying is their one car, which is 90% of everybody,
yeah,
in the community, that their one car is their modified car, to not get the total race car coilovers, bro. That type of meme.
It's
because
nice meme.
At the end of the day, I make this reference a lot, but because I think it holds a lot of value. If you really think about it, you're not setting lap times on the street. You don't need the stiffest, most technological advanced stuff out there. You can get by with the air quote cheap stuff, under $1,000, and they're not bad. My Tines,
which are now on Benedict's car.
Yeah, have been recycled. That was still one of my favorite set of coils I've ever owned, and they were great, and they were like $800. It did what they said. It didn't ride that bad. It had adjustable dampening, I believe, and it was great. So,
I do love Benedict.
Yeah, and I'm not saying to go buy the cheapest eBay coilovers ever, but you don't feel like because you're not getting the most expensive one out there, it's not going to do a difference. Odds are, if you rode in your $800 coilover set and then you drove in someone else's $2,000 coilover car, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference on the street.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's a fact.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. That's for sure.
That's a really big gray area with new people in the scene.
Yeah.
That I wish I knew.
and TJ's all about the hot boy points, so
Yeah,
he knows where
absolutely.
the hot boy points lie versus practical points, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Like you could, I love how he talked about his tains, because whenever I go out to go get food, I usually don't drive my car and Benedict drives, and Benedict's car is like
Is so good.
is so good. TJ and I always make the joke, but we're like low key serious. Benedict has the best beer seat out of all of us.
Yeah.
Just like comfortable. Besides his,
It's because he didn't. It's because Benedict didn't go full send. Having a full send car is great, but as you said earlier, you sacrifice a lot,
yeah,
and we're okay with that because we own more than one car,
yeah,
which not everyone has that opportunity. But
yeah.
yeah, Benedict's is just super clean,
Just-
and he has
that's it.
ambit wheels. They're not HREs. He has cheap Tane coilovers and a simple hand-me-down exhaust pieces, and
His car is like
that's it.
super nice, super cool. Like,
And I think he has OEM audio, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't
it's
know.
just it's as simple. It's great and it works. And man, I wouldn't change a thing about his car.
no,
It's
only
beautiful.
only if he wanted to.
Yeah,
Only
it's
if he wanted.
beautiful. Next category, I have a good one.
Okay.
This goes on changing the color of your car, but it's vinyl or paint, bro.
Oh, vinyl or paint? That's a great topic.
Yeah. You want to kick it off?
I can. So, I'm gonna start with paint. I've never repainted a car. TJ has painted two cars now. Two cars now. He's painted 2 cars now, but my experience is just OEM paint, and I had black paint, one of the top worst paints to have, top worst colors to have.
Yeah.
So, I hate paint. Not in the way you think, but I hate paint in the way that I have no idea how to take care of it, so it looks bad 100% of the time, and I can never do anything about it. That's why I got my car wrapped, because vinyls are easier to take care of. I might get flamed for that, but I think they're
that's 100% true.
I think vinyls are easier to take care of, but back to paint, like it requires so much. Like McGuire's came over and they had like 4 guys, and it took them, how long did it take them?
5 hours.
5 hours, but that's like 4 people. That's 20 hours of work to do that shit, and they didn't even do like max sand. It could take well over 20 hours to get a car to perfect show ready piece, and like I just don't know how to do that, and I don't know how to take care of that, and it makes me mad every time I looked at my paint before it was wrapped.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's 2 things that need to cross your mind when you're in the position when you're like, I'm changing the color of my car, and that is, am I gonna vinyl wrap it or am I gonna paint it? And there's 2. Again, this kind of is like exhaust. I think the first thing, like there's so many different branches in which you can break this down.
Really? Interesting.
Oh yeah. So like, I think the first thing you need to, and this is why I talk about with anybody asks me anything. It's like, when you're talking about changing the color of your car, the main thing is what's your price point, because this is arguably the most expensive of alterations you can do to your car.
Yeah.
And I think at first glance, everybody thinks that vinyl wrapping is cheapest, which isn't necessarily true. So you can vinyl wrap your car, and as you know, you can do a full wrap, or you can do just exterior, meaning no door jambs, no bay. Like your car is done with no door jambs, which is cheaper by like I don't know, $800. But to do your car vinyl wrap, it's like $3-4 grand.
Yeah.
But you can also get a car painted for $3 or $4 grand, in the same sense of door jams, doing a bag, or like spraying the bay, or the prep work that goes into it. If you bring your car already prepped, you could arguably go to like Mako or whatever it's called, and get it done. But if you're gonna go but beyond price point, vinyl will never look as good as paint, period. Vinyl will look 96-97%
And
like really good.
My white is at 96%.
Yeah.
But like vinyl inherently has texture to it.
It will always have a bit of texture to it, and it will never get the shine and depth that paint will.
Oh, absolutely.
No
way.
Vinyl
That's why I
will like can scratch and it can show, but you can never get that. You can never get the paint look, but paint you can. But
well, yeah.
But with vinyl, the effort to make it look good 100% of the time is a fourth of the effort of paint.
Oh, absolutely.
Vinyl, all my vinyl jobs, you could hose it down. You don't even need soap. You could just put water on it and wipe it down. Vinyl's looking perfect. Paint, completely different story. Paint, you need to
you do that shit.
You need to get
you scratch it.
Yeah,
Done.
Yeah,
Game
paint's
over.
a way different game. And two, it's the cost of a full paint job. For my FD, my BRZ, both those were $15,000 paint jobs.
Jesus Christ!
And that was still, you could still have gone farther. We didn't even pull the motor. The FD, we didn't even paint the full interior of the car. We just painted what was seen beyond the carpet.
Yeah.
So and you know what I mean? And we still could have gone farther.
Jesus Christ!
And the prep work. But at the same time, vinyl wrap will never be what those paint jobs are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I guess the main thing that I wish that you need to know if you're ever considering that is what's the main difference? It's mainly cost, and
a work to after the fact. Cost of owning, right? Cost of owning paint is gonna be in time and money.
I think at the end of the day, vinyl's better if you're looking for a quick change, reasonably cheap, and it will look good. It's really easy to make it look good. But if you're like, I 100%, want to go, I'm never going back to another color, and you want it to be superb, paint's gonna take a month, paint's gonna take way more effort, paint's gonna cost 3 times as much, but nothing will ever beat it.
Nothing will ever be paint. True.
And moving on.
What other? Oh, wheels,
Oh.
and wheel fitment, offsets. Wheels are just confusing, bro.
Wheels, I'm still like,
I have no idea.
I go back to Evan every time I have a wheel question.
Yeah, I went to Jackie and he was like doing some wizardry, and I was like, "Don't let me get in your way, bro. Just look at it for me."
I think wheels have similar ties to suspension, setup.
As in like cost
I'll let you talk about the fitment and
Okay.
and knowing and researching and doing all that shit, because that there's a lot that needs to be said about that. But I think the biggest thing for me, and you've heard me say this a million times if you're an active viewer of all of our stuff, is that you don't need expensive wheels. And
yes,
that's a fact.
That's a fact.
And if
You're
anybody
not dropping
ever
curbs
talks shit towards you, it's because they are jealous or insecure that they spent that much money and your wheels look exactly the same.
Absolutely.
What do I mean by that? I think the most common one is ambit wheels, that people like to if people try to talk hate and try to speak up about what they think they know and then make themselves look dumb. They usually talk about ambit. They're what they call rep wheels, whatever, gravity cast or mono forged, whatever. Is that at this day and age, every company has wheels that look exactly the same. If someone's like, "Oh, it's a rep wheel," I kind of when I hear that, I'm like, but so and so did it too, and they've done it a million times. So that term rep wheels, mainly to me means that it's what someone's trying to convey, that that's just a cheaper style wheel of something else, and that I would argue 5-10 years ago, yes, rep wheels were made gravity cast, which not really anybody's wheels are made gravity cast anymore. At the very, very bottom end, no one really does it anymore. But gravity cast was heavier than all the other stuff. It was cheaper, but it was prone to breaking more. But that's where the fallacy lies. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to drive that and they're just going to crumble." It's like, no,
that's not how that works.
Yes, they will. Cheaper wheels will break if you hit a pothole going 45 miles per hour and you don't dodge it. Yes, those wheels will crack and fucking break if you run a curb at 15 miles per hour. Just as my $15,000 HREs on my BRZ. Those lips are more fragile than anything I own. And that's the thing I really want to push towards everybody out there is just because I have 3-pieced forged wheels doesn't mean that those are yes, the material is stronger. But if I go towards that same pothole going 45 miles per hour and I don't dodge it and I just full send over that pothole on my thin wall tires,
you're losing.
I'll bet money I crack my wheel. Or if I accidentally bump the curb going 30 miles per hour, I guarantee you I'll shatter that wheel.
Yeah, so I like that a lot because, like, of course your wheel's going to break if you crash your wheel. Whether how catastrophic it breaks doesn't matter. You fucking broke your wheel, no matter what fucking wheel it was.
Yeah, I just think in this day and age, it more so relies in racing. People are like, oh, you shouldn't. If you're trying to, like, that's where kind of everything goes back to. I think that if your argument is like, oh, those cheaper wheels are so heavy, bro, like,
fuck out of here.
It's like, okay, one, if you're on the street, who fucking cares if one car is a millisecond slower than the rest? And the only time when that's really arguable is when you're on the track. And I guarantee you who's arguing that point cannot set that the only thing holding you back on the track is that your wheels are a little bit heavier than the next guy.
The few grams, the few kilograms in your wheels is holding you back from that thousandths of a millisecond.
Yeah.
A second.
I just want to put it out there that when people say that, they don't know what they're talking about for the most part. And it's just people's way of combating and looking down towards the others who are getting the same look for a fourth of the price. And they're like, oh, well, mine's still better because it's made from Volk, or mine are real TEs. Yeah. And I'm not saying like support, like, you know, don't support the original brands, because that's not what I'm saying.
That's not what we're saying.
But I'm just saying, if you're on a budget, you're building a car on a budget, that's all you can afford, and you still want to get the look, then don't let any, like, and I said the H3s, I said the price because I guarantee all those other people who are talking shit, I guarantee you I have wheels, and I don't want to sound arrogant here, but I'm trying to make a point here, that I have wheels that are more expensive than everybody's out there. Like, especially I don't mean like that. I mean,
not like everybody.
In the sense that, like, everyone who's
like
talking shit, they're like, oh, well, I got my real N-key, like, REO 3s are better than, like, Benedict has, like, rep REO, you know, and they're talking shit like that. But it's like, okay, well, I'm coming from someone who has, like, the best of the best.
Sure.
And I'm telling you that mine will still break just like yours will if we hit a curb together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know how to get it off without.
No,
people see it like,
so,
oh,
like,
you're such a cocky asshole. It's like,
no. We're trying to argue by analogy, and in order to make that point, it has to be said what we have, right? Like, it doesn't mean that we're trying to be assholes, but like to argue with analogy, we could, instead of using TJ as an example, we could use who has nice wheels.
A great example is go to the drifting world. Like, let's put our money where our mouth is, on the track, right?
Yeah.
I drifted on ambient wheels. I've broke 6-7 ambient wheels on a track by hitting walls.
TJ drops curb and they're fine, but when TJ dinks a wall, it's not going to be.
Oh fine. Yeah, how many tracks I've gone off track and I've hit potholes with. My those are flow form wheels by Emmett too, which again people like to say those are like the cheap, like, don't ever trust those. It's like no. They break when I wall tap and I hit a wall and I crash, and even then I'm still able to drive off track with those wheels.
So I don't see where their argument is.
Yeah, and at the same time too, I've had people like Noah, people like Zach, who are running like VR wheels, or like rebuilt like Works wheels, or Blitz wheels, which are like to consider like, whoa, like that's the real deal forged stuff, and it's like,
and they do the same fucking thing.
Same thing happens. Like they just spent 4 times the price,
and now they have to rebarrel their wheel.
Yeah, and then I hear the same argument. Well, you should get 3-piece wheels so you can just like repiece them together over time. But it's like,
that works.
At the same time too, you can do your 3-piece wheels and spend $4,000 for all of them, or you can go and get 12 wheels for under the same price or under, and have backups and more tires to put on those wheels for track, instead of just having 4 wheels and then putting tires on every time you come off. It's like, or you can, get 12. Break a few here and there, have more, but you have more to put on when you come off track and you go to the next hot lap.
Your day is not ruined for losing a wheel. You brought extra wheels.
Yeah, there's just so much talk from people out there who have no fucking idea what they're talking about, and they're just regurgitating shit because they
You
heard
need
it
to
from
chill.
somebody else.
You need to chill.
And they just
Teach.
talk shit towards everyone.
You
And
need
it's
to
like,
no, yeah.
it's
so
like,
I don't appreciate that when people talk shit.
it really
to
rubs
people.
me the wrong way,
It-
and it just discourages everybody else out there.
Yeah, our goal is to get people driving cars in whatever means possible. Like BS for Build, he just fucking eBays the pieces because that's what works and that's what gets the car running. I want to see more people drive like beautiful cars, and whatever fucking pieces they put on their car, I'm not asking what they have. I'm just looking at the car like, oh, that looks nice. And as for like a racing scenario, if they have their race car and they built it the way it is, I have no idea, so I'm not even going to question what's going on there. Like whether they have actual from the original manufacturer wheels or rep wheels, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to speak up on this because I feel like nobody else has the balls to do it.
Sure.
So it's like, I want to speak up for the rest of the community because I've been there, you've been there, we've all been there.
Yeah, we're all just
and
trying
people
to
are
make
like
cars look
ashamed
nice.
to admit they've been there, and it's like, I don't know.
Bruh.
I feel like everyone's scared to speak up because it's the unpopular opinion.
Yeah,
And because
absolutely.
there's all those warriors out there that are like, oh, I have the authentic, real thing. And you're, it's like, cool.
Bro, when the first car everyone owns, they're buying like whatever. Like some people when they see a car like, oh shit, I want to make my car look like that. They go to O'Reilly's and buy fake vents and glue it on, and they're so happy that it's there. That's what I'm trying to shoot for. I want people just to be happy with what they have. You don't need to be a fucking cunt and like attack other people.
Yeah, I'm getting triggered. Can we move on to the next topic?
Okay, sure. What the fitment? So things that I wish I knew before putting on or choosing wheels, right? So I learned a lot with my Miata, and I learned a lot from Dustin's fucking builds. I'm gonna put Dustin on blast right now for all his wheel fitments. So on my Miata, it would interface, like the rubber would hit the fender, and which would require me to roll my fenders. We attempted that. We attempted to roll fenders. I got frustrated and just cut that out and put on side fender flares.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I wish I knew how to do it properly that way, because rolled fenders and pulled fenders look amazing. We just don't know how to do it, and we've always had bad experiences doing it. As for Dustin, he is the king of aggressive fitment. Every car that he does is aggressive. His WRX, his Evo, his GTR, all his cars have the most aggressive fitment, and every time he comes here is like complaining that he's wearing down his tire and fucking up his fenders. And before you ever buy wheels, you need to make sure you know what you're doing and understand what wheel offset is. If you don't have someone that worked at HRE like Evan, or someone that worked at like Jackie at Ambit, you don't have those people that their lives were wheel fitment. You need to do all the research. And for the BRZ, luckily for those who have it, on the forums, there's just this table, just this spreadsheet of what wheel fitments fit with what tire,
Mm-hmm.
and what body kit or what or on stock, right?
Yeah.
All of these people have done this research. Just do a little bit of research before buying wheels, because the last thing you want is like you open your new wheels, you just spent how much would you say the average set of rims, TJ?
It depends if you're going from, I don't know, like $1,200.
$1,200, and then you're buying tires, which is also like $1,000, right?
Depending on how crazy you just went and what kind of tires you're getting. Yeah, I would no more than $1,000 if the average person.
Yeah, so you just spent like $2,000 on your setup, and the last thing you want is it to poke too far or be too far in. I mean, actually, it being too far in is fine. You could put spacers. You could fix that. But the last thing you want is your wheel to come out further, like the S2K. When TJ is trying to put wheels, the reason why I'm getting the Kazes are because they poked too far. They were too aggressive. And I don't know about you guys, but I saw it in TJ's face. He was super sad. Super ultra sad. So before looking into wheels, make sure that you figure out your setup. Because if you don't do that, you just wasted a lot of time and a lot of money. But there's always ways to fix it. But again, fender flares or rolling or wide body kits, you're just adding on to your
You
tax.
can fix being too shallow, but you can't really fix being too aggressive.
Yeah. Easily, you can't fix it too easily. And again, back to Dustin, he was here not too long ago rolling his fenders, and boy, was that an episode.
Rip.
Ripperino, Dustin's Cars Reno. We could talk about engines.
I was gonna do that next, but I was gonna keep it really short and sweet.
How about we save that? You think that'd be a good idea for another time if they want to hear more?
I mean, I was gonna say one thing.
Okay, say it. Go ahead.
Don't touch it unless you have twice the amount of money you think you need to spend on it.
Fair enough.
If your turbo kit's $4,000, have like $8,000 ready to spend.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a whole different. There's so many different diagnostics. At the end of the day, an intake. I'm not only talking about an intake. I'm talking like if you're gonna like do forced induction, if you're gonna pull the motor, if you're gonna build the motor, if you're gonna do anything of that sort, have a huge backup budget because
it's way more than you expect.
Every experience you've ever had. You pull one thing, you see something about to go out, you need to replace it. You pull one thing, you're like, oh, well, just this much more could really fix this much stuff. It's like, it never goes. If the kit you're looking at is $4,500, have $7,000, period. Next.
Nice. That's it. That's the end of our podcast, Teach. We've hit our meme time.
We're going to be trying to film a couple episodes in the next couple days. We're going to be going on vacation. What? So... for the next 3 episodes, I'll be filming that in the past. So when you guys watch those or you finally get around to them, those will be filmed way
in advance
because we'll finally be on vacation, which I
TJ
know I speak for myself. I haven't done
TJ
that in forever.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to it as much as I love the vlog and I appreciate everybody out there.
But who knows? You might see TJ if we're scooting 12 deep. That's got to be shown on some platform.
It does. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Calvin TJ podcast. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any topics or any guests you are just dying to see on here, please let us know down below. The comment section is yours. Thank you for watching.
Not working again.